pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll begin by reviewing the draft minutes of our previous meeting held on May 15th, 2023. I would make a motion to approve the draft minutes with a member second.
I'll second.
Thanks, Patricia. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Approved without amendment. We'll review the agenda for the Town of Brunswick Zoning Board of Appeals regular meeting, June 19th, 2023. We'll begin with McEwen. And that will be, one moment, yeah. We'll hit you in a minute, thank you. And that is 168 McChesney Ave. The applicant seeks 2 area variances in connection with the construction of a 24-foot by 24-foot garage. After that, we have Randy. At 12 Pickerling Lane, the applicant seeks area variance in connection with the construction of a deck in the size of 16 foot by 20 foot. After that, we have one item of new business, 4005 New York Route 2 for sign variances.
I believe there is a second new business, the Johnson Street or Ave, for a setback issue that came into the planning board where they wanted to do a waiver, and there was a building that was going to be made illegal because of that waiver. So we'll look at that too.
Sure, I'll add that too. Thanks, Chuck. So the first item of business is 168 McChesney Avenue. The zoning board will open a public hearing on this application. We'll note that the notice was published in the Eastwick Press, which is the official newspaper of the town of Brunswick. It's also placed on the town signboard, posted on the town website, and mailed to all owners of adjacent property within 300 feet of the proposed project. Maybe you can kind of read that, please.
Sure. Notice of public hearing. Notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held by the Zoning Board of Appeals of the Town of Brunswick at 6 p.m. on Monday, June 19, 2023, at the Brunswick Town Hall, 336 Town Office Road, Brunswick, New York, 12180, concerning the area variance application submitted by Paul McKeon for property located at 168 McChesney Avenue. The applicant seeks 2 lot line setback variances in connection with the construction of a garage. Copies of the application are available at the Brunswick Town Hall and are available for public inspection during regular business hours. All interested persons will be heard at the public hearing.
Thank you very much. So at the public hearing, the public is invited to come up to speak at the microphone at the podium. You can offer your comments, your questions to the board. We will do our best to answer them. We will seek the counsel of an attorney if needed. Also, if the applicant can help out with any of the comments or questions that are made, we'll direct those to the applicant. So at this time, for 168 McChesney Ave, is there anyone who would like to come up and speak for or against this application? I'll ask Chuck if there have been any written comments
There have
submitted
been
to
no
the building
written or
department.
email comments
Okay.
on this application.
Are there any questions from any of the zoning board members?
Just wondering if that big tree out in front, that'll have to be removed?
already was.
Oh, it was. Okay, because I
You probably
was,
went by it before it was removed.
okay.
Yeah, it was coming down anyway. It was dying and dropping major rain and stuff.
Okay.
But now I don't have to have it cut.
Are there any other questions? So hearing no public comment, I make a motion to close the public hearing portion of this application with another second.
Okay.
Thanks, John. All in favor?
Aye.
The public hearing is closed. The zoning board members are prepared to deliberate and act on the application. And we'll note that this is a type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act. So there'll be no or minor environmental impact, so we will determine that the seeker is as negative. So the zoning board members will now consider the standards for review of an area variance. We'll note that Rensselaer County Bureau of Economic Development and Planning has determined that the proposal does not have a major impact on county plans and that local consideration shall prevail. The board members are asked to explain how no undesirable change will be produced in the character of the neighborhood, nor detriment to nearby properties created by granting the area variances.
There's other properties in the area that have detached garages. So it's not going to change the character of the neighborhood.
Thank you. We're asked to explain why the benefits sought by the applicant cannot be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than the area variances.
Well, the way that the property slopes down, he said that his leach field and the septic is back down in there. Also, the other side of the house, there's not enough room for it if you were to put it on the other side of the house. So this is really the only location.
Yeah, I would agree. I would just add to that, the proximity of the proposed structure to the applicant's front door and driveway. And then the board is asked to describe whether the requested area variances are substantial. And we'll note that there's a front setback variance. Being proposed is 20.8 feet, what is required is 75 feet. There's a right setback variance, what's being proposed is 12.74, what's required is 25 feet. And we'll note that the lot size is 0.46 acres.
Well, numerically, I think the front setback is substantial, but given the lot size and the location of where he has to put the structure, it's not detrimental.
Thank you. The board is asked to explain how the proposed area variances will not have adverse effects on the physical or environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district. I have to say the proposal will have very little impact to such factors as drainage, dust, noise, traffic. And then lastly, we're asked to explain whether the difficulty is self-created, noting that the consideration is relevant, but shall not necessarily preclude the granting of the area variances. And I would agree, I believe so did the applicant in his application materials. Yes, it is self-created, though it constitutes only one factor to be considered by the board. The If there's no further deliberation, we're asked to consider the balance between the benefit to the applicant as weighed against any detriment to the community at large or the neighborhood in particular, for the zoning board to determine to grant requested area variances.
The benefit is significant to the homeowner. As it's stated, that they're even over that it's nice to have something closer to the house. And it doesn't have any impact on any of the neighbors, any negative impact.
I take that as a motion to grant the area
Yeah.
variance.
Absolutely.
Would a member second? Thanks, John. All in favor?
Aye.
Please continue to coordinate with the building department with the permit. Have a good night. Thank you for coming. Our next item of business on the agenda is a public hearing for 12 Pickering Lane. The zoning board will open the public comment period, noting that the public is invited to come up. If you'd like, you can state your name and address, speak into the microphone here at the podium. You can direct your comments and questions to the zoning board members, to which we will try to address. And again, if we need to, we will use the benefit of our counsel, Mr. Gilchrist here, and we can also pose the questions or comments to the applicant as well. So our attorney is going to read the public hearing notice, and we'll note that it was published in the Eastwood Press, placed on the town signboard, posted on the town website, and mailed to all owners of adjacent property within 300 feet of the project site.
Okay, notice of public hearing. Notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held by the zoning board of appeals of the town of Brunswick at 6:15 PM on Monday, June 19, 2023, at the Brunswick Town Hall, 336 Town Office Road, Brunswick, New York, 12180, concerning the area variance application submitted by Peter Grande for property located at 12 Pickering Lane. The applicant seeks 2 lot line setback variances in connection with construction of the deck. Copies of the application are available at the Brunswick Town Hall and are available for public inspection during regular business hours. All interested persons will be heard at the public hearing.
Thank you very much. So if anyone would like to come up and speak, you're welcome to do so.
I'm Robin Donovan, I'm on my board of retail. I'm on the backside of Mr. Grande's land. I have several concerns with this. One is he's asking for a setback, he has no updated survey done on his property. I was forced to do a survey on mine because of an adjoining line off of 9 Riverview. He lives on Parker Lane. I never had the opportunity to come forward in front of the board to stop a driveway that was coming in. I'm handicapped. It denies access from my house to the road. His property where he wants to put his deck dips down. There are children that live on a lower part. He puts cameras up and watches us. I have video of his girlfriend and him totally harassing me. I have police reports on this, okay? I've been threatened to be punched in the exact words, and I can play it for you and you can hear it perfectly fine, because I'll come up there and I can punch you, Rob, in the face if you don't knock it off. I would like to know how I can get his driveway, that only is 6 feet, that in the 2.5 years that it's been there, has been nothing but a hassle to me. Revolt. I can't go, I have no parking whatsoever. I've had Chuck over to see it. There's 19 of unpaved driveway or road to his driveway, 6 feet of his driveway, okay? You can't put anything on. I've heard it's gonna be an access road to his house, which he has off Purple and Lane. I've heard he's gonna put a box truck there. He's told me he's gonna park a camper there. It depends on the narrative and who he is talking to, on what this driveway will be used for. I feel if the decking goes up, the neighborhood, he's gonna be able to survey these other people's backyards. Their privacy is totally gone. Okay? He puts landmarks where he wants them. He had harassed my surveyor I had, so I know where my property line is now. All my land was marked, with the exception of his property. The markers were removed. Okay, I have pictures. He comes over onto Broadview, doesn't park in his driveway, parks in front of my house, so I don't have access. Okay? The driveway has weeds growing in it. He's thrown down crushed rose. I would like a guardrail put up so the illusion of this is gone. He has access. If I have company, I have no place for my company to walk, to park. My driveway is an easement down to my garage, which allows me to park for one place. Me being handicapped and walking the distance of that driveway, and in the winter time, it's not accessible. I can't drive down it because of the pitch coming up. I've asked the town to put in a permanent handicap spot for me, and I get told we don't do that. Why not? I don't have a right. Is his taxes going up? Has a tax exempt person gone in and raised his taxes? Because he does no longer, he has 2 accesses now, off of Kirkland and over Broadview. He can, I believe I've seen you over there looking. It's been harassment for 2 years. I want to know why I haven't had the opportunity to protest this driveway. Why has it been sitting in, highway department for 2 years and not put in front of a zoning board like this? This affects not just me, people coming up. Now he can drive up there. Why? He has a piece of property that he don't utilize it. Nothing's parked there. I have a floating camera that appears out of nowhere. I'm in the process of putting up a fence, a privacy fence, which will put him up higher, even though he's about 50 yards away. He'll still be able to see all of that. I have cameras surveying down into my property whenever he decides it benefits or aggravates him. I'm tired of getting harassed. I work for a school district. I'm up every morning. I'm in charge of the transportation department. I run at 4 o'clock in the morning. Okay? I have his alarms when he decides to park over on Broadview. Not in his driveway because his truck can't fit there. I have to listen at 11 o'clock at night. His alarm goes off. I want to know, how do I go about getting this changed? How can I get a peace of mind on my own property that I own? How can I stop him? It's simple, I know, because I have lawyers involved, okay? It's frustrating to come home from work and knowing you're being watched. If you would like to see my video and my proof, I will show it to you. But don't put these other families in harm's way, these other kids. Why is he watching us? He's threatened to throw dog poop on my car. He has thrown it over the fence in somebody else's yard. He's admitted to that too. It's an intimidation, and I'm tired of it. And I'm asking for your help.
Well, thank you. I hear the frustration in your voice. So as the zoning board of appeals, we have the jurisdiction to work with what's been presented to us by the building department. So we work on the appeals of an applicant who's been denied by the building department. And in this case right now, it's for a deck. So I hear you speaking about a driveway, cameras.
He's going to put them up, so this is an invasion of other people's privacy. He has them on his house, that's fine. Survey your property if you want, that if you feel that's necessary. But he also has a float camera, and I have video of it. That I literally put a target in front of it, and he came out and moved it so he could see in my yard. What do you think he's going to do? He's going to be able to set up on his deck now and look into these people's yard. They're going to have to put up a 10-foot privacy fence. How do I appeal his driveway? How do I get my handicap parking?
Right. So outside of any suggestion that you might have, I would kindly direct the resident to perhaps seek some relief from the town board, as they are in charge of the highway department. It's not particularly something that the zoning board can help with.
I've been to the highway department and I get told, my question is, it's a piece that he doesn't even park there. I mean, okay, start back with the highway department.
Correct. The chairperson did say this is the zoning board, so it's a board of limited jurisdiction. The issue in front of the board tonight is to consider the setback variances for the construction of the deck.
Well, he also doesn't have his land surveyed, so he doesn't know.
Okay, that's a piece of information, a comment that the board will take into consideration when reviewing whether to grant with any conditions or deny the application. The issue regarding the driveway, yes, principally within the highway department. If it's off, is it off a town road?
Yes.
Then it would be within the highway department. Any further issues in the nature of the use of the property initially with the building department, if it's a structure, if it's anything that's building code issue, zoning compliance issue, that would be with the building department. Other things that you raised, quite frankly, maybe seeking counsel. It sounds like you do have counsel.
Yes, I
Any
do.
other remedies that may be available?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to use this time? Chuck, have there been any submitted written letters or emails?
The
on
building
this
department did receive one email.
Would you be kind enough to read that into the record, please?
I will. To the Town of Brunswick Zoning Board of Appeals, in care of Charles Golden, Town of Brunswick Building Department. My husband and I are unable to attend the appeals meeting set for June 19th, 2023 for the application for two area variances of Peter Grande for the property located at 12 Pickering Lane. As proposed by Peter Grande, the deck being built is too close to our property line. We have a 6-foot privacy fence, and this 4-foot high deck being built so close to it would definitely invade our privacy, looking into our yards and all our bedrooms which face his house. We do not want this proposed deck built here, as it would be an invasion of privacy. Also, I was informed that there are illegal surveillance cameras pointing at neighboring houses, possibly including our own house. This is also an invasion of privacy to all of us, and the cameras should be taken down. Sincerely, and I'm not quite sure if I should say the,
I think so. The letter writer, is that?
Well, the name is not. The name certainly can be read if there's any other personal information, but certainly the name and address are.
that was from Steve and Rose Ann O'Connor at 4 Broadview Terrace.
Thank you, and that's in the record. Are there any questions by the zoning board members? I have a question. Mr. Grandy, would you kindly come up to the podium, please? Thank you. Hi, how are you doing tonight?
Good.
Thanks for thanks for being here. There was mention of a survey, and whether or not a survey has been submitted as part of the application materials and drawing up the renderings that you would like to do on for the deck. Otherwise, we have a Google map with the boundaries laid on top of it that was submitted by the building department. So if you can kindly describe to me the construction of the deck so as the height that it's going to come off the ground and where that would put the, say, someone standing on your deck in regards to the fence that is what you're calling between you and neighbor number 2 on your renderings,
32 inches high.
32 inches high.
Top of deck is 32 inches high.
So just for clarification. So the fence, the privacy fence between yourself and neighbor number 2 would be 32 inches off the deck,
No,
higher than the deck.
no.
No, okay, so I
The
need.
deck from my yard is coming out of my door is 32 inches high from the ground.
Okay, I understand, yeah. And Chuck, the building department, that's consistent with the information that you have?
I have not gotten any drawings to the deck whatsoever. I've gotten a physical size, but actual material makeup and height and, off of grade and such has not been forthcoming.
Has not been forthcoming or has not been asked for or has not been provided?
Both, actually.
Both, okay.
Not provided and not asked for.
Because historically, the zoning board has had in their application materials a picture of the final project.
Oh, gosh, yes. Yeah.
For example, in the application that we just saw at 168 McChesney Avenue, we have detailed information about the rebar that's going to be used in the concrete slab for the deck.
Yep.
So it's been reasonable for the zoning board to request information like that
Very much so, yes.
in order to make a determination to grant the variance. Is that reasonable sounding to you, Mr. Grandy?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Is that something that you think you could provide to the building department?
Yes, it is. And I would like to invite you all down to my house to view my security cameras, because all they do is face my house. I can show you right now on my phone if you would like.
So again, as was mentioned during the public hearing, what the zoning board is going to take on tonight is the application for a deck.
Okay.
The variance that's needed for the construction of the deck. So that's what we'll deal with tonight. And the other topics that have been raised, there are other forums for that, for remedy for that. Tonight will be the deck.
I just have one request for the applicant.
Please, yeah.
Since the elevation of the deck has been questioned, can you make sure that on those plans, that the elevation of the deck, both at the house and at the very end of the deck, is
Yes.
labeled?
Yes.
Just in case there's any topography changes. You know, your deck is 20 feet out, so if it ends up being, 32 at the house, but only say 12, because your lot might pitch a little bit or go down, just make sure at all the exterior dimensions of the deck,
Okay.
you also have the height.
topographical.
Correct.
Yes.
Yep, the elevation.
I would like to also request, I got an allegation of illegal activity that on my property,
So,
somebody broke and signed that.
yeah, so again, Mr. Grandy, I appreciate the frustration that you
Okay,
feel with the comments that you are hearing tonight. But again, we have limited jurisdiction. It works well to get things done if we stay to our task. We're a really efficient board. In the past, we've had a lot of success granting the variances that residents of Brunswick have come before us and requested. So it might seem cumbersome, it may seem like we're not addressing your needs or the needs of some of the public comments that have been raised tonight. This is how we do it, and, all bias aside, we do a really good job.
It's part of the process, yes, I understand. Can I ask Chuck one question?
Certainly.
The offset is 10 foot normally, but I'm asking for the variance, correct? So I could make that deck narrower, instead of 16 feet, I could make it 14?
Yes, you
Then I
can.
wouldn't need a variance, right?
That is incorrect. The home is the currently existing non-conforming. Any sort of change you make to the home, you have to come to the zoning board, just because of the existing non-conforming. You don't have 15 foot of side setback.
You get 12. Right. Okay.
Yeah, good question, and appreciate the answer. Mr. Greeny, also what came up in the public comments was the fence between yourself and neighbor two. And that if the deck was any higher, it would kind of decrease the benefit of the neighbor with the fence. Would you be interested, or would you consider looking at that fence and making it a higher fence between yourself and the neighbor?
Well, it's kind of no different than going in my bedroom and looking out, because it's at the deck elevation and I can see right over.
So through your bedroom window, you can see over that fence?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
I understand.
And the deck can only be 2 feet out further. So I can look from my bedroom window
Yeah.
right down into their yard. Just like other people can look off their deck and out their window onto my property. Correct. The only thing would be, I would be on the deck instead of in the house, looking out the window.
Were you planning on putting any type of privacy wall on the deck on that side, or just a standard railing, or?
Actually, I wanted to put a gazebo on there on the deck so that I could put the privacy curtain towards the people's fence and then on the other side. So that we could have, because the other side, the people, we were down there, they're like from me to you away. The other house, they can look right out the window and right into my yard. They have a second floor. They can look right out. And that house is
Vacant.
25 feet away from my house. That's on the other side. That's 10 bigger. So it's very tight in there. But yes, I would like to put the gazebo on there with privacy so that I can screen it in and have privacy for everyone.
But that fence, the fence that's up now, that is not your fence.
Correct.
It's the neighbor.
Correct.
questions this time? So it seems like the zoning board, in order to make a determination, needs more information. And that, if you have any, so it would be a rendering, a drawing of what you want to construct in this deck. John Manil, Chairman Manil, Member Manil gave you some ideas of what he's interested in. I think if you work in collaboration with the building department, they could help you if you have any questions. Is there anything else that you'd be interested in seeing? So John said, another land survey. For a second, please. Yeah. Is there anything else that you would like to see on those drawings?
I think, John, I think that would be pretty helpful. The height, full dimensions. The thing that it stands out to me is on the property lines here, they're supposed to be marked green.
Yeah.
It looks like the fence, that was gonna be my question, is whose fence is that? Because the fence is on the other side of the property line.
Yeah, so it's in the Google Maps, which sometimes they're not as accurate as the survey. Do you want to look at it or you know?
Oh, no, I see it. I've got it right in front of me right here. You're right. The tax map overlay is behind the fence. And we take the fence as what the property is. When it was measured off the fence to get the 12-foot setback to the house.
The reason why I bring that up is because if that is off by a foot or two, that changes what's needed.
Oh, very much so, yeah. Yep. Yeah, that fence runs across all of those backyards. Have we had instances where the fence is in the wrong location? Everyone has just taken that for granted in, old neighborhoods such as Mountain View? Gosh, yes. Yeah, to be sure where that line is, you need a survey.
Is that something that you would request?
I think it could be important, we're talking about a tight spot right now. And if it's off, if that line is off 2 feet, that could help him out with, he wouldn't need as much of a variance.
True.
Or if you go the other way, maybe it makes it a little bit more difficult. So.
And kind of like the before you, 168 and Chesney, he also provided a survey. So it's not unusual for the zoning board to request a survey of the land that's in question.
That's not a problem. I'm a member of a union, and that's what they do, they operate engineers, and they do professional surveys, so that's not a problem.
Thank you.
And what cost to him, because I'm a member of the union.
Yeah, like I said, I think it could be helpful too,
Not a problem.
Because if all this goes through and then something like that comes up, then you can't backtrack and then you could have a mess. So I think it's just the right thing to do.
Any other requests or questions?
So we have to request for additional information?
We do. So I can review that would be for the renderings, with the labeling, and then for the survey of the property. So,
Not a problem. Whatever makes the board happy.
so we're meeting next month, that is July. I don't have the date off the top of my head. Does anyone have the date off? Would be the third Monday of the month.
Who can grab their phone the quickest, right?
I'm sorry, I don't have that.
Third is the 17th. The
17th,
month starts on a Saturday.
at 6 PM.
July 17th?
July 17th at 6 PM. So what we'll do is, we will keep the public hearing open, or because I guess everybody had a chance to speak, we'll close it.
Right, certainly procedurally, you could keep the public hearing open, or you could certainly close the public hearing. And you've asked for more information, respond to the public comments from the applicant. That'd be procedurally appropriate to help.
Anybody have any I think time to close it.
Me too.
Okay. Yeah, so I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing portion of this application.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, John. Move member second. Second. Thanks, Dale. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. So the public hearing is closed. We'll see you again on July 17th at 6 PM. So, between now and then, we'll kindly submit those requested materials to the building department. The building department will get it out to us in a timely fashion. We'll have the opportunity to review it, and we'll go from there.
Can I ask what's going on with my 3-year-old driveway?
So, like that, I don't have, the zoning board's jurisdiction right now is for the deck. The notice of public hearing was all about the deck. The application that you submitted was all about the deck. The comments from the building department and the way they denied the deck, all about the deck. So, driveway, cameras, privacy, well, let's just say driveways and cameras, not good. So, I appreciate that you're in a difficult situation in that little area of our lovely town of Brunswick, but, we can't help you. Sorry.
Do you know the procedure that I have to do to get access to a driveway that was permitted and approved by the highway department? Who do I go to?
Right, so I would say the town board, I'm gonna ask for confirmation from,
The first spot is the highway department. It has jurisdiction over the driveway permits and any construction that was done pursuant to a driveway permit. So it started with the highway department.
All right, because I did go to the highway department, they signed off, we paid somebody to come in, take trees down and excavate it up. And then it just turned into a point of contention after my neighbor got her property surveyed and she found out she owned less property than she actually did. But I did this 2 years ago when it was approved, and then I constructed it. So do I still go back to the highway department? Because they turned me to Chuck, and then it just seems to go around in circles. I don't know where to go, who to talk to. All I want is access to a driveway. And I got a permit from here, and the highway department approved, and now I get it blocked. That's, I went through all that expense just to be.
So the first, again, anything dealing with driveways and driveway permits and construction done pursuant to a issue, the driveway permit from the highway department. Again, I don't speak for the highway department, be a highway department matter.
Okay.
If there's any property rights, certainly parties are always advised to seek their own counsel on those types of things as well.
All right, good. I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
yeah, thank you very much. We'll see you next month.
And can we just ask them to get the information, just get it to us a little bit sooner than the meeting so we have some time to review it.
Yes, I will.
That's
Of
all.
course, yeah.
Thank you.
All right,
Yeah,
thank you.
Thank you.
Get it on the 16th.
Okay, next up is new business. This is concerning 4005 New York 2 Cobble Pond. Would the applicant like to come up and just kind of give us an overview of the project, please? Hi, how are you doing? Thanks for coming tonight.
It's exciting.
Sure.
We did some work previously on the station. Yes, approved permits there, and then he wanted to add a diesel canopy to the property. And I believe by doing so, it puts more of a limit of signage on the property. I believe it's the signage and the square footage.
The signage you were way over on. It didn't, just the diesel canopy didn't trigger that. You're allowed 4 signs, you got 30.
30.
So they already had a variance before?
They have currently 4 permits out for the pylon sign, the gas canopy west and south, and the was gas canopy. Yeah.
What would you consider inside?
Oh, we
Well-
consider everything inside.
Oh, like even the pump doors?
Exactly.
Over bollards,
Oh,
right.
Yeah. On the posts, there are 8 chicken signs for what's the name of the stuff? Sounded pretty good. I know the guys up to the gravel plant, they came down and got big bags of chicken.
Crunchy.
We didn't install those.
Crispy Crunch. No, I know. Yeah. Yeah, it was Crispy Crunch chicken meals, $4, $6, and $8.
These are considered a sign, Chuck? Or is it-
Crispy Crunch. It's the company logo. It's a sign. And then they're on the side as well.
We installed those.
Gotcha.
We installed the pylon side faces, the Sunoco canopy elements, and obviously the pump doors and balances.
Mhm. And then attached to the post, you have there's the Ultra Blend sign
There's the options.
with fuels. And, yeah.
So Chuck, do you know the remaining 2 signs that have been, the permits are out for? So one was the pylon, 2 the gas canopy.
I can look them right up here. That was
I don't understand. So when, so the building department counted 30 signs. Right. They already have a variance, so the town law is for 2. We will, right, 2 signs is what is in the zoning. They already have a variance for 2 more than the law, so that's a total of 4. So the building department has subtracted a total of 30 signs that they counted, 4 which are allowed. That leaves 26.
Okay.
So, just wondering what are the 4 so that we can count them, so we know what the 26 are.
oh, I know. I see what they did. The freestanding monument sign was no, wrong. All right. That was 07. The pumps they had on as well. So that was the 4th.
This label's all.
And then the 2 canopy signs, so 2 canopy, the pumps, and the pylon sign.
No, this came from this.
So that-
Chuck, is this you?
Yes.
Okay, so it shows that there's plus 26 signs for a total of 30.
Right.
So this-
And then all the
That's how-
Oh,
calculations.
thank you, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Some of it's cut off.
The left margin seemed to get cut a little bit. The sign, it goes island, and then you have store, then canopy, and then gas, and diesel is over on the lower right above the 69.6. So they have permits out for the canopy, both south and west, the pumps, and the pylon sign. And you're here to get one for the diesel. Yeah.
So should we change it to not 2? Change it to 26?
That
Because
is,
this was submitted in I mean, we submitted a brand book originally when we got.
we sure did, yeah.
Right.
And that's how they picked what they did. So the diesel or not the diesel, but for when the sign is for the pump, I took it as pump, and you have the skirting along the base on both sides, and then you have 4 sides along the top. So each pump has 6 signs. All right, you got Ultratech on the bottom and the Sunoco logo on the top. On the top, you have, on one edge, you have Sunoco, and on the other edge, you have Ultratech Quality Fuels.
So I have a question, 'cause I wasn't on the board when we did Cumberland Farms.
Right.
So is this
Neither was
normal,
I,
is this
yeah.
normal for a gas station to require a lot of signs? Because every
Gosh,
single,
yes.
and then that's what they put
And
in
then
for?
after, and then on the guards that guard the canopies,
bollards,
they'll take and
they put the covers over the top.
yeah, they'll put covers on the top, or they'll strap something to it, ice cream, cigarettes, something like that.
And Cumberland Farms has that, so I just
Oh,
wondered if-
every square foot.
so every single bollard sign has to be noted for when they present the application
It's a sign,
normally.
yeah.
Gas stations
In
have their
Taco
Brazilian
Bell, they
signs.
slipped all of the bollards over, they're all signs.
Do you know how many signs Cumberland Farms or the new?
I can do a count like this
Stores.
and it'll be the same number. It'll probably be in the
Stores up here.
30s to the 35.
And then the directionals, we took the directionals into
Out.
consideration.
I don't use directional signs. Internal parking lot directional signs, I don't charge for. Because it's for traffic safety, traffic. Yeah. But to have a gas station in today's world be allowed 4 signs is ridiculous.
Yeah, they brand everything.
Oh, gosh, yes. Yeah.
We do them all, Volvo, Valero, Golf.
Hmm.
There's a logo on every.
Yeah.
That's their branding.
Because you have 5,
Heaven forbid you pull up to a pump and there's only one little Sunoco on it.
Always Cumberland Farms turn off their videos, TVs, there's nothing playing on the TV.
So isn't there an existing sign out front?
So for,
Yes,
um,
the sign was,
height-
the sign was
This
existing.
from you.
All we did was change the face of the sign.
You
That
took these?
sign was there.
Okay, and it's currently at 15 feet?
Yes.
Yeah, it's 15-foot height. Don't have any problem seeing underneath it at all.
Seems tall.
That sign should have been okay before. We're using the same sign, right?
Mhm.
But here it's saying that there's. very-
Nobody bothered going out to measure it, I guess.
I haven't permitted for
For the original?
What's the year? Just curious.
2022.
Yeah, that's 22, that's 0407, isn't it?
They issued a permit for it,
For the height.
for the sign.
For the sign.
The total sign.
Because it was within parameters, didn't require variance or anything.
Guess they didn't look at the height. They didn't know there was an 8-foot height limit. We usually are really cautious about the 6-foot so drivers can see under it.
So if the applicant already has a sign permit for that sign,
Yes.
should we remove it for the requested variance?
First, I have no idea how that would work procedurally.
So I have a question for you. That permit that you have from April, was that for the previous sign or this new sign?
That new sign,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
I thought,
This one will be submitted. Has the, the overall height of it, it says the size of the faces.
so it's that sign.
Correct.
So my question is this is the same sign that was there, the same structure that was there
Exactly.
before, it just had different
Had the
signage
logo.
in it.
Yeah.
So that had to been acceptable before, there had to been a permit for that, I would think. So the only thing you're doing is you're changing the color and you're changing the graphics on there. I wouldn't think there'd be a variance required for that. I don't want to speak out of turn, but.
I looked at this as a way to make everything legal. I
Okay.
saw that the sign was, the sign max is 8 foot and that this was 15. And then after I found out permits were issued in 22 on it.
So just try to bring everything into compliance.
I probably issued the permit, didn't I? What's the signature on it?
CM
That's me, yeah.
Golden.
Yeah, so, yeah, so,
Guilty.
yeah.
If Chuck signed it, it's good.
That's good.
Right, so
Obviously, that's not true, Daryl.
I think
But I mean, I kind of tend to,
There,
Yeah,
just like Chuck said, just to make it clear and everything is.
I kind of tend to agree with Daryl too, that, I mean, we,
Existing sign, they just modified.
when we granted variances before, we've also made comments to say that unless the, I guess, the occupancy, when we've done occupancy before, is going to change, then it would require a new variance or another permit. This is not that case. I think they're just redoing the sign with new graphics. Structure could be the same. But, so I would be more apt to remove it and just, kind of agree with Daryl on that myself. but-
So everything you're discussing tonight is really not within your jurisdiction. It's within the building department on whether a variance is needed or not. If a variance is needed, then it comes to this board to review the requested variance under those review standards. So the first order of business is addressing the application and within the building department to determine what variances in your determination are required.
Mhm.
If the applicant thinks, I don't need those number of variances, you can certainly appeal that determination and say, I think the building department miscalculated. Or in the alternative, if he's correct, I'm gonna ask for the area variances. So that's,
I mean, I agree with him. I would rather have them not have a problem with it down the road. If a new building inspector comes in or somebody comes in and says, oh, well, your sign's not at height. Even though you got a permit, it's not conforming, you need to take it down. As long as we have the area variance for it, they really, somebody else can't come in and have a different opinion and say, oh, you gotta cut it down and bring it down to code. Which, I mean, they might even want to, they want me to actually go look at it after this meeting. So they might want to take it down. I don't know. They said, can you go look at it?
The only problem I saw with that is that they had bungee cords on the bottom side of it where I could see they were going, you had the ability to hang something underneath it. That
I
would
can tell them,
block,
no.
that would block the view to the traffic. That's my only
I mean,
concern.
you put that in, they can't hang nothing underneath it. And Sunoco doesn't allow that. So that's actually, if somebody, a secret shopper comes there, sees it, they're supposed to take it down. There's not supposed to be anything on that sign except for that other price chart.
Yeah, the Advantage card sign with the fuel, yeah.
Now, you have.
I'm okay with leaving that in for the 15 feet, so it's legal.
And then just to clarify, the total area signage, 69.6 square feet over the maximum, and that's when you're counting up all 30 signs.
Everything, yep, including the diesel proposed, yes.
Now, there will be additional signs on that pump underneath the diesel canopy also. You have that figured into it?
Well, the pump is there.
Oh, the pump's there?
The pump
Okay,
is there, so I
have
got
that.
everything off the pump,
Okay,
yes,
okay.
yep. And then I did what your cut sheet said for the canopy.
Right.
Yeah.
So your application looks complete for the purposes of holding a public hearing, which we'll do next month, July 17th at 6:15 PM. Do you have any questions for us?
right, so here's the question. The
Yeah.
first, Mr. Grande, that's not a public hearing continuation. You
Right.
can certainly take that matter first.
Yeah.
And have this second, you can hold your public hearings first, completely up to how you want to set up your agenda.
Sure. So generally, we have our public hearings first, we'll do this at 6 o'clock on the 17th. If you have any questions between now and then, just to direct it to the building department and they'll get information out to us.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, nice night.
So to be clear, for purposes of noticing this,
Sure.
one is for the height of an existing pylon sign. One is for the total square footage, that's easily described. But in terms of the total number, this notice is going to say 4 are allowed in 30 are proposed. Okay, that's fairly significant.
The difference being the 26 signs, yes.
Okay,
Do I have to amend the application to have that?
No,
Do we note that? Is it in there?
no, that's currently in the application.
Okay.
It's just it's a significant number of additional signs. Just the applicant should be aware. Don't know
And
what the
as-
zoning board would do.
Yeah, and as you, just for the heck of it, I'm gonna go around and get a count just for the board's knowledge of what else is out there. And I don't think you'll see a difference.
Right.
Actually, so before he leaves, I just have one more question.
Certainly.
So Chuck, you mentioned that the height of this being 8 foot 6 inches, so traffic could see under it.
Minimum 6.
This Price Chopper Advantage sign sits down a lot lower, it's 2 feet wide. Is that abnormal to have something hanging down below that 8 foot mark that you say is more of a safety thing? Should that be higher or?
The level is 6 foot. You
Okay.
can't be any lower than 6 foot. And I did not measure that, or I failed to put the number down, but I believe that's 6 feet. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm 6 foot and I didn't hit it with my head. I was looking up to it, so.
In case it came up next month, I didn't want to take up more time, but having it denied because the sign is too low.
Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Our second item of new business tonight is 6 Johnson Street. The application for a lot line adjustment to create a parcel that will require a zoning variance for the following reasons. Accessory structure cannot be in front of primary structure. Front setback requirement for the accessory structure 7 feet, and you would create a lot line setback of 5 feet. And a side setback requirement for accessory structure is 15 feet. And you would create a property line setback of 5 feet.
It was before the planning for a lot of adjustment.
Right, they need this before they can do the adjustment. Would the applicant like to come up? Hi, just give us a little overview of your project.
Okay, well, we reside at 6 Johnson Street. When we moved in, the structure, the garage in question at this point, was originally part of the owners, the people that we purchased the house from. It was part of their lot. However, the house at number 4, who was owned by my brother and sister-in-law, they got a survey done, and the garage actually went with our house. However, they had a survey done and realized that 3 corners of the garage were on their lot, and the front corner was on our lot. So we've been sharing the garage. Technically, it's theirs, but it belonged with our house. Now they're moving. That garage is right in front of our house. The lot is weird. When you pull in, it's not the front of our house, it's the back of our house. The front of our house is on 142, but there's no driveway off of 142. So it's kind of weird. You drive in, it's our backyard, you got swimming pool, kind of spooky, but anyway, that's how it is. So we would like to have the ownership of that garage again, as it was initially, not changing anything to the neighborhood or anything, just because if the new people have ownership, they're gonna be right in our yard, or, well, it wouldn't be our yard anymore, but,
Right.
but yeah, we've been using the garage, just kayaks and whatever. So the project is just a matter of ownership coming back to us instead of them, as it was originally.
Right, yeah. And just a time frame. When do you expect to move, or do you plan on moving?
Well, the house is on the market,
Okay.
and of course, with the, whatever at the bottom that you say, disclosure that this is what we're trying to do.
Right, right.
Of course, for the last 5 years, it hasn't mattered,
Right,
all our families. Now we're like, wait a minute, this garage,
sure, yeah. Well, it's
we
good
should
to
really
know.
adjust this.
Right.
It should have been done 7 years ago when they built it, but they didn't.
Yeah, I understand.
So that's the shed.
That's general.
That's not their house though, it's this shed.
where, how is it?
Just here's the dead end.
Where's the, oh,
But yeah, over here.
so it's right here?
That's
This
the
is,
shed. Yeah.
But their house is right here.
And that's the one that's going for sale. The Johnson's house, the other house is over here.
Gotcha.
so you're just gonna lop off that little section?
That's it.
Yeah.
So. Oh.
So this is proposed.
Right.
Okay.
So
It's not
then,
current.
does that mean that the,
Kern's the red.
is there, so then does that mean, Chuck, that they don't have the proper setbacks
Oh,
for
no,
that
no.
building?
No, not at all.
Okay.
And it's in front of the,
Primary?
correct, yeah, you got secondary in front of the primary.
I can show you if you care to see. It's kind of hidden from the road.
We've got
You got
satellite
it, right?
images.
You got it.
Yeah, and we're gonna ask permission if we could come out, if the members could come out individually and
So
take a
this
look.
house is
Yeah,
right
yeah,
here.
okay. That's fine.
This would be right here. Right.
Any other
Yeah,
questions at
the
this time?
driveway ends up here.
Otherwise, we'll say that the application
Well, I
is
would have
complete
figured
for
they would have the
purposes of
house
a holy
as part
public
of the
hearing,
survey, just
which will
so
be
that
next
now we go
month,
with that piece of
July
property.
17th. And we'll do that at 6:15, so you'll be after this. Okay, and it will run like the other public hearings.
Easy.
Yeah.
Exactly, way
If
too
you have any
easy.
questions
There's a few
before
variances
then,
that we need there.
please direct them to the building department and we'll help you out there. Okay, thank you, thanks for coming out tonight, we'll look forward to seeing you next month.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other items of new business that you'd like to bring up at this time? Otherwise, I need a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting. Thanks, Darrell. Second? Oh, sorry, thanks, Patricia, all in favor?
Aye.
Well, good news is I got the video running. Bad news is